see the deck. Cool. All right. Thanks. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Just before we start, this session will be recorded because we know that some of you are still in school or still at work and won't be able to join us live. So this session will be recorded and then shared with all the participants after the event. But welcome everyone, you made it. This is the final session for this cohort. It's our first pilot cohort together with the support of the Cooperative AI Foundation. And we're glad to see some of the core members from the foundation here with us as well. And we have participants pretty much dialing in from every part of Asia. Quite lots from South Asia, of course. There's a very strong representation from the region, and also Southeast Asia and East Asia, and also quite a few of you dialing in from different parts of Europe and the States as well. Thank you for staying up so late for those of you that are dialing in from the States. And before we start, this might be quite redundant given that you have joined AI Safety Asia's course for the past 10 weeks. But for those of you that still don't know what AI Safety Asia is, we are a nonprofit focusing on AI governance and AI safety ecosystem building in Asia, meaning we want more individual, we want more organization to work on these very important topics in Asia. Specifically, we work with governments, we work with civil society, we work with university students for capacity building, as well as convening key stakeholders to explore AI governance challenges in the context of Asia. Our next project that's kind of on our horizon right now is that we'll be publishing a report together with Brookings Institute in mid-July, looking at AI governance opportunities and challenges in Southeast Asia. So stay tuned for that. Follow our LinkedIn page for the latest. And then with that, I will pass the mic to David to tell us a little bit about the Cooperative AI Foundation. Thanks, David.
Thanks very much, Ed. So yes, we've also supported this course. So with the Cooperative AI Foundation, lovely to meet you all. I'm David Norman. I'm Managing Director, and I co-lead the foundation with Lewis Hammond, who's our Research Director. Yes, our mission is to support research on cooperative AI for the benefit of all, backed by an initial philanthropic commitment of $15 million from our partners, Macroscopic Ventures. And we started out very much on grant making, research, education. We've increasingly got into the arena of policy engagement as well, which matter leads for us, because our sense is that we want to support research, but also there's an enormous importance in reaching out and shaping public policy as well. So that involves, research grants, PhD fellowships. We also support events, workshops such as these, contests, hackathons. Our summer school is coming up. One or two of you, I think, are enjoying joining us for that. And also technical reports and research agendas along with that policy engagement point. So Ed, I had some other thoughts just to introduce as well. You like me to dive straight into those, or?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, fantastic, great. Well, I just wanted to just expanding on where we're coming from, just to say a few introductory comments before we get into the main agenda. I mean, firstly, obviously, the big starting point we're all going to be saying today is just congratulations to everyone on completing this course. This is challenging. So, cooperative AI. I am relatively new. I'm only 2 years into this role. It's an inherently challenging field. I was trying to think why that is, and one of the reasons it is fundamentally multidisciplinary, but that doesn't mean loosely generalist. You can't just generalize and have a shallow understanding of lots of different things. It's kind of multidisciplinary in the sense of having multiple specialisms. So you kind of need to understand quite a deep level of computer science into this, but also quite deep perspectives from social science and economics on cooperation. And that was what drew me to it, actually. So I'm, as I said, 2 years into this role. I was drawn into it from the world of knotty cooperation challenges firstly in global education work, and then working on climate change. And that got me thinking about social aspects of cooperation, which you've studied. And it's really obvious that cooperative intelligence is the foundation of our success, humanity's success as a species, in the sense that we're the only species on this planet that can cooperate not just across huge geographical scales. So we have projects that we work on together across continents. It's extraordinary if you think of the typical domain of influence of other species on this planet, but also even multi-generational projects. If you think about some of the great pieces of architecture going back hundreds of years, these were constructed over generations, and our cooperative intelligence is what enables us as a species to achieve that over these geographical and spatial timeframes. And yet, in some areas, Marta was reminding me of this earlier this week, we also do it really badly in some contexts. If you think about aspects of conflict and geopolitical rivalry, somehow we're able to, in thousands of years ago, construct temples over multiple generations that required extraordinary collaboration without very much technology. And yet we fail on the most basics in managing climate change and conflict. So again, I think that's at the heart of some of the challenges that drew me to this field, and I hope inspires you as you go through this journey. So just thinking, just briefly, all this cooperative infrastructure that you studied around week 6, I think, the existence of organizations, which are crucibles of cooperation, all the other cooperative infrastructure you discussed 3 or 4 weeks ago, all that needs to be built for a world of interacting AI agents and people. And some of those AI agents are going to be highly specialized, some very advanced and generalized. Some of them will be deployed by governments or companies, some deployed by honest people, some by criminals. And that world of complexity of interacting AI agents and people seems literally around the corner now. We're seeing AI systems increasingly becoming more autonomous, able to take action in the world without immediate human oversight. So I think it's that transition that we are about as a foundation. Getting that transition right is incredibly important. And also the decentralized systems of AI agents may be important in balancing the power dynamics, the power disruption that is likely ahead from this transition to the worlds of advanced AI. So this is an exciting field to join. I hope you've felt that as you've gone through this course. I think if you want to choose to continue your career in this field, you'll have the chance to shape the trajectory of this world of interacting AI agents and people, and to preempt some of the challenges, some of the threats, to mitigate some of the risks that are arising uniquely within that system of interacting AI agents. This is different from some of the safety concerns when we consider powerful AI systems by themselves. Some risks arrive directly from the interactions between AI agents. We can't take for granted that they will interact in the way that people do, or companies do. And so I wanted to conclude by saying it's quite a rare opportunity for a researcher in any part of science to be able to find your way quickly towards the frontier of knowledge and to contribute to new knowledge creation. So I'm not a specialized researcher, but I found already it's remarkable how it's possible to quite quickly grasp a lot of the academic research in cooperative AI. And if you want to specialize in this field, to find your way to contributing uniquely new, original knowledge in this field, because it's still a small and nascent field. So I'm delighted you've had a chance to taste our field, and I hope that's inspired you potentially to consider making a career of it. So congratulations once again, and back to you, Ed.
Right, thanks a lot, David. This is indeed a very exciting and new field. So we are very excited to have so many young researchers potentially joining this field. And also very excitingly, thanks to David and your team, we are able to invite one of your latest board member of the Cooperative AI Foundation, Audrey Tang, to share a few words to all of you. For those of you that are not very familiar with Audrey's work, David, would you mind giving everyone kind of a quick teaser of who Audrey Tang is?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It's a privilege. So Audrey is now Taiwan's cyber ambassador. What was extraordinary about her earlier part of her career was she moved from world of tech as an entrepreneur, as a leading contributor to the world of technology, into the democracy activism more than 10 years ago now in Taiwan, and was invited by the government for a period of great polarization to step across the divide from activism into government. And she led a process, a kind of world first process of using then early stage AI and other technology to contribute to what she calls the social technology of democracy. In other words, getting beyond just a situation in which we perhaps contribute once every 5 years through voting at elections, but she developed a system of people able to contribute directly to policy creation and to surface points of consensus in Taiwan. It's been quite transformational for Taiwanese democracy. So an extraordinary contribution. She continues to do that in her role as cyber ambassador now.
Right, thanks. So Audrey wouldn't be able to join us live today, given that she is traveling quite intensely today, but she did record a message specifically for all of you. So let's dive in.
Good local time, everyone. I am Audrey Tang, Taiwan's Cyber Ambassador and First Digital Minister. It is a genuine honor and privilege to join you, even from afar, at AI Safety Asia's graduation ceremony. Today's gathering of tomorrow's guardians of AI good governance gives me great hope for the future. To all AI Safety Asia graduates, congratulations. Completing this intensive 10-week course in cooperative AI is a significant achievement. You are stepping into a cutting-edge field that is absolutely crucial for our shared future. In studying the cooperative intelligence of advanced AI, each and every one of you is preparing to make a real contribution to building better and, most importantly, safer futures for all. Now, we often speak of technology's power. Indeed, AI holds immense potential to help strengthen democracy, particularly in Asia. My vision, and the one that I trust many of you share, is for AI to serve as assistive intelligence. And when we think of more general capabilities for AGI to mean augmented group intelligence, this is AI that does not aim to replace human agency, but amplifies our collective wisdom, our compassion, and our innate ability to connect with one another. And this is not just a theoretical hope. We already have seen how AI thoughtfully applied can assist us in building more vibrant digital public squares. In Taiwan, tools like Polis help us find uncommon ground to navigate complex issues like the Uber dilemma and deepfake ads. Initiatives in Thailand have used collaborative platforms for fact-checking, enhancing information integrity. And across Japan, we see growing exploration of broad listening architectures to bring more voices into policy consideration. These are all examples of creating spaces where diverse perspectives are valued, where the people can meaningfully participate, and where commonalities can be discovered, even amid disagreement. Rest assured, your recent studies in cooperative AI are directly relevant to scaling these successes. And your exploration of cooperative infrastructure is equally critical. In building AI systems that truly serve democracy, we need far more than clever algorithms. We need robust ethical frameworks, transparent processes, shared digital norms, and an infrastructure built on trust. That is one that the people feel is theirs. You are now equipped to be the architects of these forward-looking foundations. And not to be overlooked, your work on improving AI cooperation for the benefit of humanity addresses the very essence of the AI conundrum facing society. This is about designing not just for efficiency, but for understanding. It is about creating systems that enable constructive dialogue, help us listen at scale and with nuance, and foster a deeper connection through empathy, even and especially when we disagree. It is a truism that you know better than most, but these optimistic outcomes cannot be taken for granted. Technology is a powerful tool, and its impact depends entirely on how we, its creators and stewards, employ it. The same AI that can bridge divides can also be misused to commit fraud, entrench harmful biases, or erode the very trust that underpin healthy, inclusive, and progressive societies. So this is precisely why your expertise in cooperative AI is critical. You understand the profound importance of foresight, ethical design from the very first line of code, and building a resilient system designed to keep society in the loop as active participants and beneficiaries. So in my eyes, you are the modern-day Argonauts. As you embark on your careers, I challenge you to infuse the values of your studies, co-creation, justice, plurality, into every project you undertake. Never forget that technology faithfully reflects the values of its creators. So yours is the great responsibility to embed values that will cultivate a more democratic, collaborative, and human-centered world in Asia and beyond. This is how we will free the future together. In closing, congratulations once again on your remarkable achievements. As you celebrate this momentous day, please carry that warm spirit of cooperation forward in everything that you do. Keep asking not just what technology can do, but what it should do for our societies, for our communities, and for the human spirit. Thank you for your attention and time. I look forward to learning of the positive impact you will all make in AI. Live long and prosper.
All right. Thanks a lot. And let me share my screen again. All right, cool. Yeah, so that's a great word from Audrey. It's a pity that she wouldn't be able to join us this time, but hopefully we can have some other opportunities next time to interact directly with her. And without further ado, very importantly, we will be looking at some of the amazing projects that some of you have put together. We are unable to go through every single one of the project, but we are amazed by the quality of the projects. And we are only able to highlight 3 of the many today. But first of all, we have Bernard to share a little bit about his project. So Bernard, would you mind telling everyone a little bit about your background, what you're working on, and then what's this project about? You have 7 minutes. Over to you.
All right. Hello, am I audible and visible?
Yes, perfect.
All right. Let me just set up my timer so that I can keep track. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Bernard Advincula. I'm from the Philippines. I'm a researcher focusing on emergent technology, international governance, and government-to-industry relations. So my background is really in international relations and East and Southeast Asian studies. But I also have a minor program in data science and analytics, focusing on social computing and applied digital law and ethics. So in terms of my project, it's titled Multi-Agent System Typologies, an Asia School of Thought for Governance Issues in Cooperative AI Networks. So in terms of the project, it's a research proposal. So my project is a qualitative, exploratory, and policy-oriented research proposal with the ultimate goal of establishing governance frameworks for forecasted multi-agent ecosystems. So this work is largely epistemic, grounded in facts and evidence for an audience of public scholarship, particularly in the governance field. So of course, the concepts that I want to explore within this type of research is first, establishing different typologies for multi-agent networks. Second is, of course, to forecast their likely emergence pathways and the subsequent governance issues that do emerge, as well as the opportunities that do arise. So, of course, the typology is largely based upon how agents interact and communicate with one another, largely from the curriculum that we've learned throughout cooperative AI as well. But we also want to nuance it to their priorities in their decision-making. So this is rooted in existing literature as well. So of course, I'm coming from a political science background, and I'm trying to integrate these things in the context of network architecture. So we're looking at the question of what exactly does the nature of power look like when agents engage from one agent to another. But secondly, of course, we want to be able to identify the emerging AI social structures. And this is where the idea of norms and norm diffusion and normalization within multi-agent ecosystems becomes apparent, as well as the network architecture and what the implications are to technical AI safety literature or researchers. So, of course, the approaches that we want to be able to identify in terms of the general hypothesis is that there are two emerging approaches: the individualist systems or the collectivist systems, and the barrier between the two, which is a mixed or hybrid approach in terms of the ecosystems. So this is one sample typology that I have in terms of the general observations that I have in the existing, given the existing technologies that we do have, right? So on one end of the spectrum, we have chaotic systems where agents operate with high degrees of autonomy with minimal coordination, focusing on individual goals. On the opposite end, we have highly centralized systems having agents as nodes to a centralized authority. So think of like Hive technologies within AI systems. And everything in between, such as convergent systems, collaborative or coordinated systems, demonstrate different gradations within the spectrum of collaboration or cooperation. So in convergent, for example, I've observed that there's an emerging pattern of coordination, even though agents still behave as individual entities with their own goals. But some level of pattern coordination within AI agents could mean that there's some pattern of coordination or cooperation that does occur. On collaborative instances, for example, there's a balance between autonomy and community obligation, and game theoretic principles do apply within these types of things. But in terms of like coordinated, hypothesize that agents work in a structured approach, but there's also an emergence of a class of coordinator AIs who monitor agent behavior, and these exist within a spectrum. So these typologies relate to the approaches that we've mentioned or that I mentioned earlier, wherein on one end we have individualist agents that prioritize self-interest and transactional interactions versus collectivist agents who emphasize relational interactions and collective responsibilities. So that's the first part of the research proposal. But the second part is to really identify an Asia school of thought. And how do we establish an Asia school of thought? So we want to be able to identify different values within Asian societies and nuance how these things can apply within the context of a multi-agent ecosystem. So values such as harmony, collective well-being, relational, emphasis on the relational aspect of different agents. We want to apply these things on two levels. So first, on the micro level, we want to apply these values and frameworks within the ecosystem itself, governing the to AI and AI to human relationships. But the second level is we also want to foster an international governance and coordination perspective in terms of the Asia School of Thought, right? In terms of governing the AI ecosystem itself, first, we want to structure the ecosystems and prime them for collaboration. But second, we also want to integrate the drive to prioritize collective well-being as opposed to prioritizing an agent's own entity. Of course, this is always going to be domain specific. For example, it may be difficult if the nuance of the industry that you're applying the AI to is proprietary, or if it's, for example, finance, where it's really competitive. But we want to be able to fit that within the gradation in a way that it still aligns with, for example, the principles of cooperative AI. But third is we want to, of course, promote the concept of harmony in AI to AI and AI to human interactions. And finally, we also want to emphasize the importance of a relationship-centric design. On the international governance and coordination lens, we want to recenter and include Asia and the global AI majority for collective well-being, emphasizing collaboration. So we want to promote a global AI landscape where states play differentiated, complementary roles for collective development and stability. Why is this relevant? So in terms of the core problem right now that I've identified, there's a need for robust governance frameworks to manage forecasted multi-agent ecosystems from a policy perspective. So the current literature often overlooks how these ecosystems will emerge, and they don't often consider the socioeconomic contexts in developing nations. So there's a gap in cooperative AI literature that discusses what the iterations look like and how they will emerge. So for example, vertical integration within companies and capture of different value chains affects whether or not this is a centralized system controlled by a central corporation or otherwise. And this is significant for 4 reasons. It allows for regional positioning. It allows for human-centered governance as well. It addresses the policy anxiety of different developing nations or the global AI majority. But it also creates a strategic niche because an innovative like framework can help the global AI majority to find their role, as opposed to competing on developing AGI, for example. The impact is clear. Of course, we want to apply a governance and policy lens to multi-agent ecosystems. But I think the most important takeaway from this research is we want to establish a foundational taxonomy in terms of how these things are likely to emerge. So that concludes my presentation, and hopefully it's not overtime. But yes, if you have any questions, it would be really nice to be able to hear them. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Bernard. We will do a quick round of Q&A because we have 2 other presentations to go. For anyone who want to ask a question, please raise your hand and then unmute yourself. Yep, please go.
Hi. You mentioned micro analysis. Can you just go to that slide once? Impact and sorry, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, I was unmuted. Is it this slide? Yes.
Last one.
Last one. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
No problem.
Is it visible now?
Not yet. Yeah, it's sharing now. Yeah, like shift analysis from micro AI interactions to a comprehensive ecosystem. I mean, what's that goal, when you say micro AI interactions in this?
Yeah, so in terms of the literature that I found right now, it's really viewing it from the individual interactions between AI agents within a given context. So how individual agents behave within a particular context, as opposed to, for example, looking at the implications on a larger scale, like what the actual architecture of the multi-agent ecosystem looks like. Because, for example, if the ecosystem was created from a top-down approach, i.e. a company creates different agents that operate within an enclosed system with predictable outcomes and a really integrated communication channel, that would be very different or distinct, for example, from a chaotic system wherein all agents are unique and independent from one another. So they always have to build that relationship and trust to begin with. So instead of looking at it from the individual AI to AI interactions, we view it from an architecture perspective of the network itself. I hope that clarifies the statement.
Thank you so much.
Right. Cool. Thanks a lot. So let's move on to our next presentation. We will still have some time towards the end of this meeting if any of you have any other questions for the previous presentation. But let's go to 1 second. I believe that's Christopher. All right, cool. Yes, that's a big group. So we have Jonathan, Christopher, and also Naya in this group. Christopher will be the representative in the middle of the night in the state during this presentation.
Yes.
I hope you stay awake.
Yes,
Over to you,
I am
Christopher.
fine. I'm fine, even if it's 1:30 a.m. right now. Oh, I can't share. Should I just, let me try it again. And switch over. Do you see it? The slides?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So first, with the introduction, I'm currently I think Jonathan is also going to college right now. You're trying to be a law student, right, Jonathan? You're in the presentation right now. For your introduction, Jonathan. Yeah, okay. For me, I'm also a college student, undergrad. I think Naya is the only person who isn't an undergrad. She's doing governance work. I forgot exactly what it was in detail, but that's the introduction for the 3 of us. Naya is not here, so I don't think she could correct me if I got it wrong, though. However, here's our idea that we had about using cooperative AI. So our idea when we were brainstorming was to try going on the East Asia path. And we were thinking about how human trafficking was a persistent problem in this region. with, for example, the consistent rate of human trafficking with, for example, like online sexual exploitation of children, having common slang words like lollipop or candy to be referred to young children, or like random other slang such as chicken, chicks, bata, toto, toy, neneng, or Filipino terms. So with a lot of these terms, we wanted to use multi-agent safety to try solving this problem. The problem with this was it's fragmented across multiple different platforms. So this made it really hard for human agents to be able to solve the problem of sexual exploitation or human trafficking of children by themselves. So we wanted to try making a human AI cooperative relationship. So the human AI cooperative relationship is the multi-agent systems flag the harmful content, while the AI to AI cooperation could allow them to pick up different nuances for different cultures. For example, each country in East Asia, Asia might have different slang words for children, with the examples of lollipops or chicks or live show to refer to like sexual performances involving minors. So this is just mainly a proposal so far. AI systems can be used to detect coordinated deceptive behavior in online spaces. So we wanted to use it to flag all the different local slang that traffickers might use to catch them before they perform these horrible acts. The reason why we wanted to mainly do this was because the lack of research connecting human trafficking with the cooperative AI setup. And we think this is a good application of cooperative AI because as we've seen with multi-agent systems, it might allow for multiple different agents to specialize in different geographic regions. So the main problems we had with our ideas was the possibility of false positives or algorithm biased towards specific groups. But I think this could be mitigated with the fact that if we have enough smaller agents for individual regions, they might have better understanding of specific regional dialects so that it won't cause as many false positives. However, we have to include the possibility of false positives. So that's why we included the human AI component of not just having the AI report people, but having the AI report to people so that humans are actually able to actually look at the content to actually see if it's human trafficking related. So conclusion is human trafficking is a growing industry in Asia. And we thought that cooperative AI might have been a good solution or a good tool to help solve the problem. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Christopher. I mean, it's great to see a diverse range of work. I mean, that's very different from Bernard's direction, for example. I mean, it's great to see some people working on the government side of things, but also some of the groups working on trying to use ML and also game theories to solve some of the real world cooperation problem. I mean, that reminds me of one of the material that we've gone through, right? Fei Fang's presentation. I think that was in the Cooperative AI Summer School probably last year or 2 years ago. So that's great to see. And also your group has a very diverse range of background as well. I mean, Christopher is a researcher on mechanistic interpretability as well. Well, soon to be researcher in Macintyre.
Yes,
but
I'm
also Naya.
naming for
Right, and Naya has lots of backgrounds working for Facebook, working for Google, and also Apple. And then Jonathan brings his background in law and policy. So it's great to see all three of you bringing different experience together. So let's do a quick round of Q&A. Shall we do one question? Anyone has a question for Christopher before he go to bed? Steve. any comments from you since you are the facilitator of the group?
Yes, if I had to give a main comment about this was I feel like this idea was possible because of Nai's experience in governance. I found that governance experience actually helped a lot with identifying a problem that we could work towards solving. I have to thank her, even if she's not here. So maybe that's a thank you to you. Yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to say about this presentation. Other than that, I feel like for solving other problems with cooperative AI, I feel like a major component that also could be solved that's East Asia specific might be like not just human trafficking, but maybe related to more child abuse could also be used. The same technology might be able to be used for detecting child abuse, which might be common in Asian households because of the social pressures of doing good in school.
Right. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to the next presentation. And then if you have any questions for Christopher, let's come back towards the end. And then for the next presentation, we have Pang Niu. Pang Niu, would you like to unmute yourself and also tell everyone a little bit about your background and also your project?
Okay, I'll share my screen. Okay, wait. Okay, morning, afternoon, everyone. I'm Liu Pan. Now I'm a research master in the National University of Singapore. Honored to share my thought, which focus on data sharing game of autonomous driving in mixed traffic scenarios, combining game theory and multi-agent reinforcement learning. Okay, first of all, I'll introduce some important hypotheses based on the existing research. The first figure shows the early development may temporarily reduce traffic efficiency and safety. The second shows that as the number of participants increase and the average cost for data privacy protection goes down because of the scale law. And the final shows that as the level of the cooperation increase, the cost of technology and development decrease. Autonomous driving technology development face the following issue: poor initial results, high investment and costs, trade-off between the data protection and utility. Though there are some effective solutions like government subsidies, federal learning, differential privacy, and multi-party secure computing, the challenges still exist. How to develop so my question is how to develop a subsidy strategy, cooperation strategy, and operation strategy. So the problem I'm really interested in is how to form a cooperation model and get optimal strategies for everyone. The background focuses on Asia, and there are huge market size. East Asia will represent 13% of a 400 billion autonomous driving market by 2035. Drone logistics market is booming. Quarter and annual growth in Southeast Asia, and advanced technologies are widely used to improve efficiency. The next key factor is the government layouts. China's MIT strategy, Singapore's smart mobility 2013, and Japan's Society 5.0 all shows a strong government commitment. And in short term, the CV penetration rate gradually increases, and the mixed traffic system is more complex, as shown in the right figure. AI is widely used today, and data-driven methods, including end-to-end, a visual large language model, require massive amount of data. And data safety and privacy are essential, especially in traffic area, because a data leak may cause serious accident. With this background, our version includes governments, promote autonomous driving technology and infrastructure via policy and regional cooperation. And enterprises accelerate research and development with financial and policy support, and user benefit from safer and more comfortable travel. Next is our multi-level cooperative multi-agent reinforcement learning framework. A three-level cooperation model as shown in the right figure, and level 1 is between the government and enterprise. The government offer subsidies to each enterprise to incentivize autonomous driving development. And level 2 is enterprise cooperative games. Enterprises cooperate through the multi-agent reinforcement learning to develop shared strategies. And level 3 is between the enterprise and the users. Enterprises set the operational strategy that incentivize users to share their data in exchange for enhanced service. User behavior is reflected through the traffic conditions, and the government adjusts the subsidies to enterprises based on the operating conditions of the traffic system. This framework ensures mutual benefits for all parties. The model next is let's move to the multi-level cooperation models, input, output, and key goals. The input, including the three key factors. The first one is traffic operating conditions. The most is a CV penetration rate, and also technology maturity and the preference of government and enterprise is also the input. And we can get three strategies: the subsidy strategies for the government, and the cooperation strategies and operation strategies for the enterprises to optimize data sharing. The key goal here is sustainability, both in terms of economics and technology advancement and the environmental friendliness. A number of indicators to assess the stability of the cooperation as shown in the right table. Through this model, we aim to achieve long-term cooperative stability. However, the potential risk cannot be ignored, including reward hiking. Some enterprise might game the subsidy structure to maximize the funds without truly contributing to cooperation. And the next is monopoly risk. Large players might form monopolies and push out the smaller enterprises. And cybersecurity is also a key point. Shared data could be exploited for unsafe purpose. To mitigate this risk, we list a few strategies, including the regulator in the loop, adaptive caps on subsidies to prevent abuse, and tiered data sharing. Only anonymized metrics are shared to maintain the privacy. And the red team audits regular white hat tests to identify any strategy exploration, and sunset clause freezing the development if any monopoly concentration or unsafe behavior exceed a value. These mitigations ensure our system remains safe and competitive. Specific enhancements still need to be verified experimentally. And there is a three-phase roadmap. Phase 1 focuses on the experimental scenario construction, including validation and calibration. And phase 2 focuses on the algorithm design and optimization. And phase 3 focuses on the comparison and robustness test in different scenarios to observe the changes in the evaluation metrics and verify the adaptive of the framework in new scenarios. After initial exploration, host a workshop with regulators and enterprises is an effective way to apply it to reality. And successful validated models and frameworks can be extended to the development and diffusion of emerging technologies across the regions, including like grid energy distribution, regional healthcare resource allocation, and also AI technology development, and so on. In closing, I believe that cooperative AI will make the world safer, more efficient, and more comfortable. Let's fight for it. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Anu. Right. Any questions from anyone? Please raise your hand again if you have any questions. If not, we will come back again later. And
Okay.
thanks a lot, Anu. And right now, I will move on to the next item on our agenda. Again, we have a lot of great projects that we are not able to cover directly today. And also, the limitation of this program is that you only have very limited amount of time to work on your project. So that's why we are expecting you to work on a project brief or project pitch instead of the concrete research. But many of your project pitch are very exciting, and we want to work with you to turn these pitches into something more concrete. So that's why we are going to launch a new project after that. But before that, I want to take a second to congratulate those of you that graduates with distinction. As we can see that these folks come from different parts of Asia again. So it's nice to see different groups of you representing different parts of Asia. And it's not easy to graduate in this program. Well, not easy to get into this program, first of all, and not easy to graduate and not easy to get the distinction. So congratulate everyone. And then I'll pass the mic to Leanne to tell everyone a little bit about our next project, the Studio Lab, which aims to work with some of these projects and turn this into concrete research output. Over to you, Leanne.
All right, am I audible?
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Am I the only one that got the brief to wear your Asian attire for this culminating ceremony? I'm just kidding. I am attending an event in Tokyo right now, hence the attire. But let me just go with it. So good afternoon, everyone. Well, it's a real honor to be here with you as we close the very first chapter of Cooperative AI short course, the Asia Pilot Cohort. So what began with 50 participants, so bright minds across Asia, out of 1,500 plus applications, has grown into a milestone for cooperative AI in the continent, supported by 5 dedicated facilitators, 3 behind-the-scene champions, and 2 backbones of the project. This pilot wasn't just a short course, it was a testing ground for ideas, collaboration, and leadership in one of the most exciting frontiers of AI, multi-agent systems, AI to AI, and AI to human. So today we're celebrating 35 certificate holders, including 17 who are graduating with distinction. And as we celebrate what you've achieved individually, we are also looking at what you've created together. So out of the 30 capstone pitches submitted, I am thrilled to announce that AI Safety Asia has selected the top 10 projects to join the ISA Lab Studio. Our idea to impact program that this year will support bold cooperative AI ideas shaped for Asia by Asians. So 2 of those are entering as theoretical cooperative AI projects. 5 are moving forward as applied cooperative AI pilots, and 3 will focus on field building, spreading awareness, and public understanding. So to give the recognition a bit, under theory, we have Multi-Agent System Typologies, an Asian School of Thought for Governance Issues in Cooperative AI Networks by Bernard Advincula, as he presented a while ago. And the second for theory is Ancient Wisdom for Autonomous Systems, Kautilya's Sixfold Policy as a Blueprint for Cooperative AI by Norhani Gemadil. And for the applied cooperative AI, we have Learning to Trust, like ASEAN, teaching AI agents to understand indirect trust signals by Nguyen Tran. Skimming Agents and Silent Signals, designing culturally aligned cooperative AI to counter human trafficking in Asia by Yuntao Nandargi and Kinoshita, our second presentation a while ago. And then we have Balancing Security Concerns and Humanitarian Needs, using cooperative AI tabletop exercises for refugee management in India by Diksha Pandey. Sayogi AI, a cooperative AI framework for deepfake governance, ethical oversight, and just digital enforcement in India by Pranjal Dwivedi. And then Palnew's presentation and pitch, data sharing game theory of autonomous driving in mixed traffic scenarios. And our fifth on the applied is navigating dual authorities, evaluating cooperative AI failures in fragmented legitimacy systems by John Lenzel de Gohoy. And the three that made to the field building category are as follows: Cooperative AI Insights for India's Tech Community, Building Understanding Through Accessible Communication, a communication route by Arjun Ragundanan. And then a Cooperative AI Zine by Sirisha Chavali. And last but not the least, Professional Development Workshops on Cooperative AI by Hai Hao Yu and Shan Sum. So those are the 10 projects. Moving forward directly as a cooperative AI pitch for the studio, note that we will be taking pitch submissions that were not mentioned today, also as part of the ISA Lab Studio, but on a different category. And the ISA Lab Studio is a two-path launch pad, 8 weeks for rapid development and 7 months sustained piloting. It is where project ideas for safe and secure AI levers are nurtured, tested, transformed into real-world Asia use cases. We aim this studio as a hands-on learning bridge for its members towards a full-fledged career in AI safety, security, and/or governance. Our beta that started in 2024, Shi Hao Li's 7-month project, the seaobservatory.com, so you can check that out. That's seaobservatory.com, as in SEA. Which he took as his master's in engineering thesis in Cornell, presented 3 days ago in the 2025 Startup Awards plus Open Studio in New York. And Chi Hao, our technical lead, got his diploma yesterday and will enter the Singaporean government with a technical focus on AI policy next month. As his thesis project advisor and ISA's program executive director, we aim to distill this process from Shi Hao's experience to the 10 selected cooperative AI projects, among others. The 10-week pilot cohort journey for Co-op AI short course hasn't been all smooth sailing. We want to acknowledge the resilience of those affected by the recent India-Pakistani tensions, especially participants from border regions. To those still on the path toward certification, know that today's culminating ceremony isn't the end point. We'll be here to support you finishing what you started, so that 35 certificate holders will definitely increase beyond this culmination program. And to everyone here, whether you are part of the cohort, a supporter, a facilitator, or part of the organizing team, thank you for being part of something that we believe is just getting started. Congratulations once again. And as how I end my group sessions in this cohort, see you on the other side. Back to you, Ed.
All right, thanks a lot, Leanne. Fun in Japan. Well, right now, we have so far dumped quite a lot of information onto everyone. Well, not just within this session, but also throughout the course, right? You have gone through quite a lot of the materials, both in terms of research paper and also different presentation, and also gone through quite a lot of these facilitation. So I want to also take this moment to open up the floor for everyone. in case you have any questions about the 3 presentations that we have seen just now, or about the Studio Lab project that Leanne has mentioned just now, or more broadly about AI Safety Asia, or about Cooperative AI Foundation, or anything else in relation to AI governance, AI safety, cooperative AI ethics, you named it. So if you have a question, if you have anything you want to share, please use the raise hand function again. All right, over to all of you. All right, Ryan.
Yeah, actually, is it like that all the people will get a certificate, like all the participants?
That's a very important question indeed. So among the folks that we have recruited in the program, there are 35 plus people that will be receiving the graduation certificate. I said 35 plus because, as Leanne mentioned, some of you are getting affected by the recent conflict. So we are trying to support you beyond the program to help you to finish the graduation. So Anonyo has already shared the list with all of you who have received your graduation certificate. You will be received the actual certificate by the end of this week. So if you have any other questions, feel free to let your facilitator know or let us know.
So I just have some highlight questions. So, okay, thank you. I just forgot it. What is her name? Lanitoj. I just word yeah, actually, I was just getting confused. Like, Ryan, you will get to receive the certificate. So, anyway, if I participate for 6 weeks, then I will get the certificate, right?
Well, you are confirmed to receive your certificate, so don't worry about that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good. All right. Any other questions?
And also, so currently we have some projects as of now. Like currently, I'm doing this AI-based project. Now, some people who has done quite very well, you have selected. But I mean, those people who have not get like the graduation level and something like it. So for that, is there any other thing like you can help us for it?
I could
So your
take it.
question is, okay, sure, Anonio.
Yeah. This is something that I would have shared at the end, but I'd still take the opportunity to share now that do not get bogged down. If you see that in the ISA Studio Lab, you see certain projects and you don't see your project, that is not a final indication that this is not accepted, right? If you understand from our perspective, we need a certain place to start from, right? And we, in our capacity, understood that these were the projects which very clearly reflected what we want to do, how do we want to further the development of cooperative AI in Asia. But that being said, if you have some great ideas, just like you, and I'm sure there are a lot of you here who have a lot of great ideas, you can always write to us. We can have those one-on-one chats, and based on all those information, we could very well see that you are a part of the lab in the near future as well, right? So this is just a start, but it is not that we are closing our gates and saying that, oh, this is some exclusive club. Absolutely, right? It is antithetical to research. So just to let you know and reassure you that we will be in touch with you, and you can always reach out to us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anoy. Thank you so much. That was a good book. Thank you.
Yeah, back to Ed.
All right, and Bernard, I see that you have a question. Do you want to unmute and elaborate?
Hi, yeah. So I guess I'll just reiterate the question. So I'm really thankful for the opportunity to be accepted. But what type of support will ISA Studio Lab provide to the accepted pitches? Since, for example, is it from an operational perspective, or funding, or network support? That would be really helpful as well.
All right, Leanne, you want to take it?
Sure. Yeah. So what type of support? At least in the case of Shihao, what we did was network support and advising. It's some form of an incubation to take the idea from an MVP and beta testing, if you may. So there's that. And then so part of that is also operational. For instance, in the case of the top 10 projects that was mentioned, it is an automatic enrollment to the studio lab. And then, but there's also an option to, not continue if you don't want to. And for other projects that are not mentioned in right now, the top 10, we are still pursuing those projects, but me personally, as the one kind of like the chief evaluator for the projects, I'm seeing those pursued in other terms and outside the buckets of whether that's a theoretical applied or a field building cooperative AI. I'm also looking at the other question from Arjun, how would ISA Studio Lab program will look like going forward? It will function within and outside the cooperative AI. It's just that because we already have this community of Asia Pilot cohort participants from cooperative AI, and the ideas already went through a review of more than 10 folks per pitch. We don't want to lose that. I'm one of those folks that would always cite the scent of a Nobel laureate in chemistry, saying that when the world has a lot of problems to solve, we cannot afford to waste talent, and the community right here are talents, and so are the pitches. And then what else? Funding. We are looking forward to support some funding. In the case of Shihao, what we did was some members of the ISA, the team, would direct to me and Shihao, and then later on with Philip, who is the managing editor of the ISA report that we'll be publishing, because he's a software contributor. We were pulling opportunities on where to get grants, whether that's a fast track grant or an actual grant for the project. Of course, it depends on what type of project, right? In the case of Shihao, we weren't able to seal a big amount for the project, but Shihao was able to seal a fast track grant, and it really helped in him executing the MVP and the beta for the cobservatory.com, primarily because, subscriptions and all that. So, and the cost that it takes, and the small amount that we were able to pull in within 7 months, make that happen. So, any sense from you, Ed?
Yeah, to be fully transparent, there is no funding guaranteed as a part of the program. I understand that funding is necessary for many of you to carry on with this work. So we're exploring with a number of funders to see whether they might be interested to support some of this work. We will, as Lian said, also support you to seek external funding. Independently, I know that Cooperative AI, they also have their research grant call. I have to stress that that's an independent process, totally separate from this program, meaning by graduating from this program does not guarantee you in their research grant. But I wonder if David or Martha, would you like to share a little bit more about the research grant?
Yeah, shall I say a few quick words? So we have now an irregular cycle for grant applications. Keep an eye on our main foundation page where we always post grant calls. We're still in the process of a strategy review with our board of trustees, which is looking for what are the main emphases of our grant making and our wider program. over the next 3 years. But the thing to keep an eye on there, if you look at the grant call page, and obviously we'll share with Ed, Diane, and Anonio, so you can have access. If we do promote a new grant call, we'll let you know the dates for that. There is an early career track as part of that. So typically, we invite a set of proposals. Some of those proposals will be typically from assistant professors and others that are already well established in cooperative AI. But since the start of this year, we've had an early career track, which is explicitly prioritizing somewhat smaller grants through the same application process for people who are at an earlier stage and who have an interesting project idea. And that's very much about investing in both the project and the person in terms of your sort of entry onto the cooperative AI career track. So that's the piece that I would suggest you focus on, and that is typically a part of each of our major general grant calls as we promote those. We might do one later again this year.
Okay, and also Cecilia from the Cooperative AI Foundation, she has also done a presentation to all of you, and that session was recorded. It's just that we didn't put it on YouTube as her request. We have already shared the link with all of you, and she did went into details in terms of what kind of research proposal Kive is currently looking for. So check out that video if you haven't for more details. And then I see that, Ryan, you have... Oh, Leanne, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so, okay, so I'll try to address also Ryan's, because I think it's a related thought. So on to the maybe further details of how would the ISA Studio Lab program look like going forward. Apart from those that I mentioned, let me provide an example. So for other participants, I will also conduct kind of like a deep evaluation on the strengths of the participants individually themselves. And an example of what would that look like after is, at least from my initial review, I want to regroup some folks into a particular project, or maybe regroup some folks and then like what I did for Shihao, the idea was mine, and then I told him, you do that, and then we'll provide the support that you need, at least for what we have in that moment. And when I say in that moment, that was AI Safety Asia, 2 months old? Yeah. So, and then the project of Shihao and Shihao himself grew together with AI Safety Asia. So there's that. Apart from that, it's not only cooperative AI projects that we would be hosting in the ISA Studio Lab. It's also our way for to put certain talents to a launch pad where their talents correlate with as a project-based skills, if you may. So from there, we will evaluate in terms of how that profile would also go in the other pipelines of AI Safety Asia. So I'm going to provide an example. For instance, the managing editor of the ISA report, Philip Tam, he could have gone kind of like the Shihao's route or the ISA Studio Lab. However, based on his skill set and his initiative to be part of something, we instead put him in the editorial work for ISA. So there's that. And then relating that to Ryan's question, what opportunities are available for those who were not selected to engage with the ISA Studio Lab program in the future? That's an example. Another as well is, while maybe this is our first take on cooperative AI officially, if you may, we also have networks within Asia that may be willing to support some capacity building or perhaps hiring for particular positions that relates to AI safety, AI security, or even governance of AI. So again, we will look at the fit of the profile and take it from there. And when you receive your certificate, Anonyo would also indicate some forms for you to express your interest, what would be close to your liking in the other levels of AI Safety Asia. So you can continue your journey with us, or at the very least on cooperative AI and or AI governance.
Right. Ryan, you have quite lots
Yeah,
of questions, but go ahead.
yeah. Should I speak, right? Ryan. Alvin.
No, go ahead. And then after
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
Fan.
Actually, yeah. I mean, I just don't know, but even though I have expressed my AI-based project, um, I am a national level in defense category winner actually for the DICE. So my work has been approved by the DRDO, which is a defense related research work, which are connected with the field of AI as well as quantum computers. So that's why. So that's why the main question I was keep on asking. So I have to have some level of startup, and I have to receive some grants and funding from national level as well as international level. So micro based funding. So based on the Chow, right? The right now just recently she stated that there would be one more level of review would be happening. Am I right? Is it like that?
Yeah. So, Ryan, one quick thing, just in the interest of time, it seems that, and I've also seen your projects as well, we can definitely take this offline and have a much more leisurely discussion about which aspects of your projects do you want to see being funded. One quick caveat that I will add here is that irrespective of how incredible a project is, the yardstick that we are looking at is the relevance to cooperative AI. So your project could actually be a trailblazer in quantum computing, but if it doesn't have a lot of relevance to cooperative AI, that will not be something that will fall under our purview, right? But it does not mean that the project is not a kick-ass one. So I hope you understand this distinction. But again, I will be more than happy to just have an offline call with you and do look into the projects, because you do have a lot of projects, which is incredible. And hopefully we can get somewhere where you receive some help or the other from ISA in this endeavor. Yeah. Fan, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I think Nanu kind of mentioned it early before, um, like about the possibility of a group chat for all the members in this program, either in the form of or linking. Like, I'm just curious about this possibility. I feel like because I feel like it would be really helpful if we can have a group chat for future communications or like even collaboration opportunities.
Oh, absolutely. We are totally on the same page that we want to create a LinkedIn page, but we would also be willing to go more, depending on where the group is, because I believe the group, like, you're as strong as your intentions and what you're willing to put. And I can understand that after the program is completed, a lot of folks we will probably shift their focus to other things. So I think this is probably a true test of the folks who have really been moved by what cooperative AI is. You've seen firsthand what it can do, and I think the possibilities are literally limitless. If you want it to be just a LinkedIn group, we can definitely do that. If you want it to be something more, that is where coming together and having discussions would be really helpful. So again, be very proactive in reaching out to us, right? If you think you have half an idea, to reach out to us. We would love to hear that. Yes, Aditya.
Yes. So there is. Hello, everyone. So there is no as such question. I just wanted to take this moment to thank you, like my project teammate Trishita and my amazing facilitator Anunyo. So it was really nice. My fellow participants and Edward as well. That like everyone have done very well for with the program. We enjoyed this thing, and this was one of the main ingredient as well for starting my our AI Safety India. That was the thing. Like we started with this thing, and it is great to be connected with you all. And it was great experience. Yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, Aditya, for those very kind words. Shirley, yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shirley from Jakarta, Indonesia. So, David, you mentioned that this field of cooperative AI is an emerging field and that the field actually requires multidisciplinary collaborations. And after listening to the presentations today, can you give us like some ways forward on how Asia can leverage the field of cooperative AI? I mean, like, I can sense that, for example, one research will be conducting like theoretical research, but also I sense that in Asia, particularly from my region, Southeast Asia, the discussion about AI safety, cooperative AI is not very popular. So we also need to mainstream this field of cooperative AI. So can you suggest us, after we complete this course, what should we do in Asia to do more in cooperative AI? Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. It's a wonderfully broad scope question. Let me have a go, but others perhaps come in behind me as well. So I think two different perspectives on this. Firstly, the point about it being multidisciplinary. There are certain core elements that you covered in the first stage of the course, in particular the game theoretic side and the computer science implementations of that. They're absolutely fundamental to all applications of cooperative AI. So I think it's important to sort of hold on to that as the sort of heart of the field, and then think through your expertise, all of your expertise and your context knowledge, which is obviously far greater than my own, about the ways in which that might be applied in your context. And I think that will be really diverse. So I think it's important in such a potentially almost too broad field to start from that anchor point of what are the heart of this, what are the implications of those game theoretic understanding, which appears quite abstract, but very quickly when you get into think of the context in which that's applied, from the examples of tragedies of the commons and resource management, which is where that was traditionally applied, through to conflict resolution and management of differences of interest between countries or between communities within each country. It has such profound implications, and I think the theoretical and modeling and simulation insights can help us propose conjecture solutions for intractable problems, which are then applicable within that context. So this is a very general answer because I'm not an Asia specialist, but my sense is the thing I wanted to get across is the sense it's important to hold on to the heart of the theoretical insights that are from this nascent field, and then just to try different things. I think to think as you have done. It was so striking within the diversity of the projects that were presented today, and that's just a small sample of all of the projects, the number of different ways in which this could be applied. So I think my conclusion is start with the anchor point of those game theoretic insights, but then be quite creative and thinking there is almost any situation in which there are different interests to manage. So there are gains from cooperation, but there are different starting points. And going back to Audrey's point about plurality, we must not be trying to end conflict. The point is about our democratic and other institutions of cooperation is to manage those differences. Those differences will always be with us within different groups at different levels of society. And they're the proposal for sort of Asian principles, Asian values in terms of how to manage those. That has an enormously long heritage. And that feels like the natural place to be thinking about its applications. I'm sure others have views as well that are more informed than my own.
All right, thanks, David. I think the broader question that AI Safety Asia is trying to also work on is to basically grow this field, right? And by this field, I don't mean just cooperative AI, but even the broader field of AI governance, AI safety. How do we support more people to work in this very important field to make it sustainable, to have more organization like AI Safety India, for example, so that we can grow the ecosystem. So that's something we're working on. So for example, another upcoming project that we have will be with the Indonesian government. Well, as you know, Shelley, with the Ministry of Digital Affairs. to support the civil servants on AI governance fundamentals, but also creating a training program for the civil society organization, especially the digital rights organization, to understand some of these latest perspective research in the field of AI governance and AI safety, so that they can be more active in these kind of dialogues and conversation. I mean, many of these organizations, they have done great work in the past 2-3 decades in these digital related topics, but very often they're absent in many of these international AI governance conversation. That shouldn't be the case, and that's something we're working on as well. So I hope that helps with your question.
Yeah.
Can I come back very briefly?
Oh, yeah. And if I may
Sorry,
jump
yeah.
in. Yeah. So to Shirley's question, because I'm coming from Southeast Asia myself, you can see from the dress. So on top of what has already been mentioned, I think it really boils down again to a sense that I've already mentioned a while ago, is you cannot afford to waste talents. And what a talent needs is an ecosystem to support the talent, the person, the skill, and the processes that involve in that. So relating it to Southeast Asia, carving AI governance was not easy, but I owe it to the international community that's supported me right after I've picked up the bare backbones, what my own country can offer me in forging the field. So same with any other field building, it's a matter of going to a network of people and talents and ushering a mutual and communal place to forge a field. In the case of cooperative AI, on one hand, cooperative AI, let's say coming from the foundation and the neighboring circles, can provide the research, the network the Asia would be needing. And for the Asia, get in there and provide insights and aspects that communities around cooperative AI foundation circles would be providing. One way of doing that is Asian ways of thinking in terms of cooperation and cooperative AI principles or game theoretic applications on AI. So that's the route to go. And if I may add lastly, when you have the chance to put this forward in your communities in your own ways, that's the way to go. Talk about it with your folks who may understand a thing or two about AI, or in the case of international relations, talk about AI and then cooperative AI, so they have an awareness of there's this emerging field that may probably relevant, or maybe your circles may have the ways or aha moments how we can bridge those. And definitely that's where multidisciplinary and multi-vectors for pursuing and pioneering the field happens. It's field building, so there's that. Take the stab and go for it. And don't be afraid, maybe for Asians as well, don't be afraid to be field builders. It's possible. So and hone in on the talents, skills, and also efforts, ideas, projects, research work that you've already done prior. I'll leave it at that.
And David.
Oh, very, very briefly, just what to add one point you said, Shirley, about the framing of AI safety. I think it has been quite problematic that many people working on AI safety in Europe and North America have framed it in quite a negative way, quite an anti-technology way, almost an anti-progress way. I think that is problematic. Even where I am, it's certainly problematic in many other parts of the world. So taking ownership of your own framing of this, and I think, being really clear, the reason I care most of all about AI safety is to unleash it's a precondition for unleashing much of the extraordinary future progress that is possible through applications of AI. This is a very positive thing. There are some problems to solve. We can solve them. We must solve them as a gateway towards the